Hello, everyone. We are back with another day of the BSL. We already had two Protoss players make it through yesterday, and this time around we've got our Terran, Protoss, and Zerg group. And joining me today on the cast is we do have Shun. What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, Nyoken? How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. I'm looking forward to today in particular because we actually have Terrans.
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
that was my conspiracy theory to make an excuse about ASL, but then avoid the Protoss death groups yesterday.
I was like a kid in a candy shop when I realized that the scheduling made them switch the days around, and I realized that you were going to be casting me for this group and not the Dragon group. I was like super stoked because I needed your expertise for Gypsy and Mihu.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to these groups, man. I got two of my favorite Terran players. Like you said, Mihu here. Can anybody beat this guy? It doesn't seem like it.
He's crazy good.
He is ridiculously good. The B used to stand for the Bombastic Starleague, but ever since Mihu's made the appearance, this guy just cannot be beaten. But then we've got another Terran on the other side. We've got Gypsy. He's the only person that has beaten Mihu in a series. Everybody else has lost to Mihu. But maybe today, maybe finally somebody can take him down, because actually our first matchup is going to be Mihu versus XiaoShuai. XiaoShuai is a really freaking good Zerg.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. No, XiaoShuai is like probably one of the most scariest Chinese players as far as Zerg's concerned. Mihu doesn't really need any introduction. He kind of like hasn't like reinvented the Terran mindset in the TVP situation. And look at it. Oh my god, look at his stats. I don't know how accurate these stats are, but if that's true, that's scary. 80+% in every matchup. That's like, he's like the Chinese Flash. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, this guy, and this is 80% versus the Walton Bonnet and people
Crazy.
Like that. It's not like he's getting an 80% win rate in the round of 24. You can see in his results champion, then 9th in season 15. I think the reason he got eliminated there was Dugu all-in him a couple times, but then season 16 and season 17 also getting the championship. What makes him even more deadly this season compared to previous seasons is, in previous seasons he was going 4
donation
fact,
from Chelsea.
5 fact, wasn't even meta. But you know what is meta now? The Koreans have been doing 5 fact,
exactly.
which means now his style is meta. He's been leading the charge. He can download, replays of Light and actually see them implementing his own style. So it's going to be even tougher to play against him this season.
Yeah, he's like, I wrote that. Yeah, and this is what basically he's saying just a minute ago, but he kind of reinvented the Terran mindset. But I think both players are like kind of ready here. So I think we're just going to be jumping straight into the first map Apocalypse here.
Okay, in the bottom right, almost got baited. It is Mihu.
Smoking. He's smoking. I love this guy. I love this guy. How can you not love this guy?
Yeah, and by the way, we do have a Chinese observer, so it's not like Zero's going to be observing, being able to listen to what I have to say and go there immediately. But it gives us turn rate 24, which is going to be nuts. So there's no excuse about muta lag, you can't control it in lag, blah, blah, blah. If he loses all of his mutas, he deserved it because it's turn rate 24.
I mean, yeah, like I'm expecting some pretty exceptional mutalist control, which will make this a very fair and balanced matchup. Mutalist kind of the crux of this matchup. It's not so strong opening up with lurkers at the highest of levels.
Yeah, in Apocalypse, it's really freaking tough.
Oh,
to deal with mutalist, especially at your natural.
But he didn't get 12. I mean, there's a little bit of compensation. I think 12 would make it a bit more awkward to defend. One thing he's going to have to keep in mind is the direct route into his main base here. So he's going to probably have to, like, focus a little bit more attention to that main base defense against the mutas early on.
Indeed, and this is an interesting... Okay, so there's multiple walls you can do at top, mid-right, but this is the one where he's, I think, going to put the depot on top of the depot, maybe?
I think so.
And then that, it's a wall that I hadn't seen until this year, but the logic behind it is you put the Marine between the two, the racks and the depot, behind the second depot, and then Lings kind of bug out. There's no way to engage into it, and, actually it's a pretty safe Marine. We've got a 12 hatch from XiaoShuai. Now, XiaoShuai, I think he does have 3 hatch in the arsenal, but I'm expecting it to be 2-minute gas, 2-minute pool, and that's exactly what we see here.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to get the timing where you slide the drone onto the gas when you don't quite have the minerals, and you get the mineral optimization just as you get on top of it, the animation, but doesn't get that. So slightly delayed gas from him, but not going to go for 2.5 hatch either. Wants that really crisp, fast layer timing, and I can't really blame him. You don't want to give Terran any breathing room in the early game. Opening up with something like 3 hatch would allow him to basically do any build under the sun that he so choose. So going for this fast 2 hatch timing does really put you in the driver's seat as Zerg.
There is the command center as expected from Mihu. Everything is very standard from him. It was, I think, a 1 Marine expansion, no depot. So this is about as greedy as you're possibly going to go for. And SCV got a first scout off, and he finds him first, which is great. Now, there is a certain move that Terrans have been doing these days, which is a 3 Marine pressure. And I gotta say, whenever I try it, I look like an idiot because my Marines just end up dying. But we'll see if Mihu wants to go for it. I think Mihu's actually kind of a passive player in the early stages. If you remember back to the Crossy game that we saw in round of 16 or round of 24, he just sat on 2 racks, 3 racks, teched. I don't think he's going to make that 3 Marine move, but it is a possibility.
Right. I think the sort of 3 racks middle ground play where you're getting your tech fairly fast is a very cookie cutter way of playing Terran. If he doesn't want to go for that like 4 racks pressure, delaying your tech way of playing and being more aggressive, then it's definitely the safer way of playing. I think two 3 racks into tech is probably one of the safest ways of playing Terran.
I agree with that. I actually, Mind, he was playing in ASL a couple seasons ago, but he hadn't played in ASL for a few seasons, so I was kind of skeptical of what his skill set was going to be. Is he going to be very good? It was, is he going to get crushed? Then he made it all the way to finals, and I'm watching his build orders. I'm like, dude, you're not even doing any crazy stuff. You're not 5 racksing, you're just 2 racksing, 3 racks tech, playing defensive, and then just owning them in the mid game. So it's a really solid build, and it can take you all the way to the finals of the ASL. We do have an eBay rush from Mihu.
Ooh, that's really fast.
Yeah, followed up by an academy. Now, I don't think this is for like a 5 racks. That would be kind of crazy versus a 2 hatch. But he is rushing at +1, and he is also rushing his academy to get his stim and range upgrades.
Yeah, usually you don't see the 5 racks +1 unless it's like 3 hatch or 2.5 hatch, and you manage to skip Marines and like have a link tight wall, like a Mickey Mouse wall, and you get away with like, super greedy. Maybe you do the 5 racks, but yeah, here I don't think there's anything like that. Just a nice little 1 racks eBay +1, and we'll give him a nice timing with that +1 upgrade on the Gauss rifles to help fight these Mutalisks in the mid game phase. And like you were saying earlier, the mid game is where it's at for Terran, right? Like they're a little bit flimsy in the early game, and then like super late game they kind of get overwhelmed by Dark Swarm and Plague, but in that mid game they can really like abuse the Zerg's transitional points of weaknesses and really get one over.
And XiaoShuai is someone that, and from what I remember, can be quite aggressive, so if you hold his aggression and hit a slick mid game timing, I mean, you could catch him definitely without a defiler. Now this is so far going to be a 3 racks. Oftentimes when you see +1 weapon this fast, it generally means it's going to be a 4 racks, but it doesn't have to be. But as I say that, there is the 4th rack, so this is going to be big time pressure from Mihu.
Yeah, 4x basically indicates that you intend on being aggressive. You need a little bit of compensation for this 4x. You are delaying that factory, you are delaying that +2 timing, the vessel timing, so you're expected to get a little bit of return on your investment here when you're going for this, but it does allow you to come out onto the map much earlier and have that map control and that big middle game sort of like presence that you can really start to put the pressure on the Zerg and not let him be too comfortable with his usual meter harass.
Well, turrets are coming down, and as a Terran player, like I said, I cannot stand Apocalypse defending the natural, so I'm going to actually have my eyes locked on that Nat to see this turret placement. So far, everything looks kind of normal to me, which means there's going to be a lot of opportunity for XiaoShuai to get some damage done, but turret at the Raxes and the main also. So far, Mihu's looking pretty tight. No openings to exploit just yet.
Well, it seems like he's got, he's playing for like almost like a TVP zone control line up with these turrets. Like he's allowing, like he's assuming that these mutas aren't going to be able to come into a deep pocket into the main. So he's really like tightening himself up from the get-go and like hoping for the best. And I think that will give him like a stronger chance at negating any kind of crazy mutalisk pressure here.
Well, here we go. Nope. I thought the mutas were actually going to run by those turrets, but not going to be the case. Just gives a love tap to that one and backs off. Now, XiaoShuai already has his 3rd base up. Doesn't actually have gas running, doesn't have any drones over there, so we're not too sure what this actually... immediate scan, how does he know?
Yeah, how does he know? That's really curious, actually, because, I mean, the Zerg doesn't even have to expand here. I mean, we could see, like, the natural taken at 12, for example. This is kind of interesting, yeah. he must have like some serious kind of sick read on XiaoShuai, or maybe his playstyle and what he would like to go for. Or he's just got like the best star sense ever. Maybe that's what you're lacking, Nyoken, which is why those 3 Marines die so often.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Well, these Marines have kept the Mutalisks at bay. I saw the factory coming in, so despite it being a 4X, I really thought he was going to be out on the map doing some type of pressure, but he's just content with defending and teching himself. Now, he will have a massive army. I expect maybe by 8 minutes he should be moving out, because it can get dangerous if you just allow the Mutas to just, you know, keep you in your base the entire time. But so far, he's accepted that.
Well, he's not really reduced this bio count, right? So now we're going to have this massive bio ball moving out at this critical timing where he's only just now finishing up his Hydra Den. He's got to research lurkers. There's going to be a little bit of time before those lurker eggs finally hatch into lurkers, so there will be some pressure given to him. He's going for a pretty fast Queen's Nest like you would expect. I'm not sure what the timing of the factory is, but due to 4X, it's probably a little bit late, so maybe no hopes of a tank push, but still been putting a lot of pressure with his bio force here, catching 1 Mutalisk already. So I think with this amount of bio units, he can really start to put the pressure on XiaoShuai here.
Yeah, this is what, like 1.5 groups of units, maybe 2. That is a lot of mutas, though. They're actually kind of healthy. Also, what is this, like 16 mutas? There's a considerable amount. I think if you want to try and engage this Marine Ball with just Mutalisks, now's the opportunity to catch it before it turns into 2. But it looks like he's not able to do so, and now there's no way you're beating that army. So XiaoShuai is in a little bit of trouble here.
Well, Mihu actually scanned the main base and saw a little bit light on drones, so he might actually be kind of reading the situation right and has identified that there's been an overproduction of Mutalisks here, so he's just kind of like just chilling on this high ground plateau and won't really push out too much further here.
Okay, big shots right there. He takes down another medic, so there's not that many medics left over, but there's just so many Marines. And actually, it's going to be armory again. So he thought XiaoShuai overcommitted to the mutas. He's going into an armory. Now, this is going to give him an insane Valkyrie Marine medic timing. But I feel like Lurker should be in time for that.
Yeah. I mean, Lurkers do kind of counter Valkyries as well. Like, it does, the Valkyries allow you to come out onto the map and put pressure on and lay siege to the Zerg at like about a minute or so quicker than the vessels will. But at the same time, like, Lurkers kill Marines even easier if there's no vessel support. So eventually, you could be punished for this. But catching a few of these mutas as XiaoShuai trying to navigate around and shave off some of this Terran bio units, doing a little bit of a good job by killing a few of those reinforcing Marines, but hasn't had the kind of like damage that he'd probably like to get done here.
I'm just watching this as a Terran player, and I just don't get it, man. He's lost like no SCVs, by the way. His army's huge. Oh my gosh, hold position. How did he not see it? Oh, bait him in, please.
I don't think he was looking. I think he could have seen it, but wasn't paying attention and just hasn't caught the wind of that. But luckily, he's kind of like chilling out on this eastern flank. So hopefully, if he just pushes down, he'll be able to like circumnavigate this whole position lurker and actually probably put XiaoShuai in a bit of an awkward position here.
Aren't you a Zerg player? You should have been saying, hopefully he goes to the left side and just loses his entire army. I would have loved to see that.
Well,
because
he won my heart, Nyoken, by smoking on camera, right? So even as a Zerg player, my bias has evaporated.
Whoa, look at this mincing count. We're going to have a base trade scenario. Okay, this is about to get ugly real quick because I don't think Zerg can hold, and I don't think Terran can hold. Terran needs to, like, actually give up their natural and start bunkering their main, because that's completely gone. I actually turn around some Marine. How does he hold this? And he's going to bust the natural at the same time?
Well, Mihu kind of was like really distracted by like making sure he didn't like just straight up die to this, so it didn't really get much damage done with his own force either. So kind of neither player really doing much damage there, kind of just trading off a few of the units. I would say this goes a little bit advantage Mihu maybe, but right now there's not much map control for Terran, which is a big issue in the mid game.
Well, Zerg's lurker set up outside of the natural. Ended up getting cleaned up, basically. I think there's only 1 remaining. That is a lot of Valkyries. So he committed really heavily. There's at least 3. That means he has probably no vessels. Okay, this single lurker might get some good damage. I'll take that back.
Yeah, it wasn't target firing. If he had paid attention, maybe he'd get a big long string of Marine kills there. But fortunately for me, he was on top of things and managed to save the lives of those precious Marines.
So at this point, now that the lurker attack didn't work out, he lost all of them basically, except for the ones that were defending his own natural. He's in big time trouble now. His defiler mounted is done, but I don't think consume is done. I didn't see a defiler. Yeah, he doesn't have any drones, but Terran doesn't have any vessels, I guess. Here we go, another engagement. But the Terran has +1 armor, but it doesn't matter.
Wow, another little flank from the Zerglings as well from the Northern Threshold, cutting off the retreat of those Marines to help shave off the final count of those, with the Mutalisks going to be doing a little cleanup on R5 there. Defilers are already out, and with no map control to keep these Defilers at bay, we could be seeing Dark Swarms hitting the Terran Natural imminently, and this is like big bad news bears time for Mihu. He's trying to keep some kind of presence out here with this small contingency and using the Valkyries to kind of bully back these Mutalisk here, so these two vessels can come out and hunt down these Defilers critically.
That's why you see him engaging these lurkers immediately, because he has to get rid of them. Otherwise, the Defilers will end the game. There's only 2 vessels out, but there's not enough energy. And I think if there's fire bats, maybe he can hold. But he's got to get rid of these lurkers in the back, and they're not gonna be enough. The Marines are gonna take all of them down.
That's a beautiful play from Mihu, though. Get onto the high ground to snipe those lurkers just in the nick of time before those Defilers were becoming relevant. So Mihu kind of hanging on by the skin of his teeth right now, pushing back up to this high ground plateau here. And he might get the Defilers! Darksworn barely in time, but only saving one of those Defilers, and also kills one of those lurkers that were en route as well. So far, Mihu doing a really good job with what little tools he has got at his disposal.
No way. We saw a Defiler eat another Defiler, then he picked off one. There's only one remaining, and he's going to irradiate it. And that means that this small force of Marine Medic is going to keep the Zerg back. Meanwhile, these 3 Valkyries are just killing Overlord after Overlord.
I think this is crazy. How's Mihu doing this? He's kind of like just like doing like a cartwheel along the tightrope of death, and just like looking at the ashtray, wondering if he's got time to take another drag of that cigarette.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Look at it. I think he even took his hand off the keyboard.
Yeah, he did.
Maybe there was a delay, but that was hilarious.
Just as I said that, he like started looking around and like looking nonplussed even while he was winning.
It's like, you're dead, dude. Get out of this game. And the GG comes out. Oh my gosh, wow. So that was really close. Like the base trade, I thought it was going to go better for Zerg than it actually did. But either way, amazing response from Mihu there. I thought once he opened 4 Valkyries, I'm like, dude, this guy's got mass lurker. How are you going to kill them? So it was really, really well done from him.
Honestly, like, phenomenal stuff from both of these guys. The only thing that we didn't see enough of was any kind of Mutalisk pressure, but Mihu, right from the get-go, kind of zoned him out from any kind of harassment by really prioritizing the sort of main base zone control, and he spaced his turrets out in such a way that the natural could cover the main base turrets as well, so it's really hard to come in there and try and disrupt and start to put a crack into those defenses. So right from the get-go, Mihu was just sewn up so tightly and had such a strong presence on the map with that Bioforce as a result.
Yeah, that's the thing. Whenever I watch players play versus Mihu, I'm just like, yeah, you got him to sit in his base and he's not out on the map, but you didn't kill any SCVs. If you don't kill any SCVs, Terran doesn't care. Like, Mihu is not someone that misses SCVs. I mean, his econ's always crazy. Like, he had 7 racks going before his starports were even done. So, like, XiaoShuai, like, his meter control was good, but he's got to get some damage. You got to get in there and do something, because if you just let Mihu do whatever he wants to do, it doesn't matter how the early game goes for him. I mean, he's just going to run you over in the mid game, in the late game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little bit worried for XiaoShuai, and I mean, Mihu's the kind of guy though that I think he's all momentum based. So if XiaoShuai was able to like just get him winning just one game, I think it's enough to really disrupt Mihu. In their previous history this year, I think they're 2-2, and all of the sets that Mihu won, he didn't drop a single game. So maybe if all that we need to see here is just one game from XiaoShuai to really start to establish the momentum, and maybe this could be flipped on its head.
Yeah, Citadel is. Somehow we got a Citadel ban, you get a Citadel pick, so I'm gonna just assume that it's correct, because I have a feeling Lobotomy did not get picked. Nobody's picking.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's picking Lobotomy.
Yeah. So Citadel, I think this is overall a good map. I actually think it's better for Terran. I think it's easier to defend your natural, and anytime I don't have to worry about my natural, I'm pretty content with it. So one thing I did notice about XiaoShuai's play is every time I watch him, he's like an aggressive, not necessarily all in, but low eco Zerg, and it doesn't seem like it's changed. So if Mihu plays like he just did, which is just defensive, I feel like mid game, late game is going to be in his favor. So hopefully XiaoShuai can come up with something different here. Either way, we're going into Citadel now. Let's get into game 2 between Mihu and XiaoShuai. Okay, in the bottom left, we do have XiaoShuai. And in the bottom right, we do have Mihu, and he is up 1-0 in the series so far. He's not, in my experience, like an 8-Raxy type of player, so I think XiaoShuai probably can just open like he did last game, 12 hatch. Maybe if you want to get a little more eco-based, you go for the 2.5 style, like you were mentioning.
Yeah. Now that was a rolled cigarette that he was smoking just now. Do you think that's a purely tobacco cigarette, Nyoken?
Well, I don't smoke, so I have no idea. You have to.
Well, my expertise tell me that it might just be tobacco by the looks of his face. He seems like the kind of like experienced Chinese chef that, you know, he's like a one-man army and can like prepare like 50 different dishes while with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth and just like, you know, tossing that wok like a gangster.
Yeah, like in the movies, right?
Yeah.
Well, so far I don't see anything unusual going on. Mihu's opening with another wall, kind of like the de facto move to do these days. I kind of got meaned on for several years by certain players slash casters slash BSL players about walling, yet here we are in 2024, and walling is the trend, and this is what I call the ample wall, which has the slight gap at the top. So you do have some access to get into the middle of the map easily.
I mean, I was a big advocate for walling in as Terran. I've tried to convince a lot of Terrans to do this many years in the past, and a lot of them were very hesitant to kind of adopt this playstyle. But I'm very happy that Terrans are doing this more now.
Good, man. There's almost no downside. I guess I have had times where if you lock yourself in with a wall, the mutas can be hard to deal with. But other than that, like this is my own opinion. I will say this. If a muta comes in and just starts killing my depot, take it, man. Because that depot could have been at like 4 or 5 SCVs. I will 100% trade you a depot for you to not kill my SCVs.
Right. And a lot of Terrans make the mistake of fighting for that depot and also losing a lot of their Marines for their efforts and still losing the depot eventually anyway. So yeah, just let them take that depot and remake another one.
Well, this is the same follow-up from Mihu. He went no Marine expansion. This did look... actually, it's a little bit different from XiaoShuai because this was not a 2-minute gas. This was like 2:10. So maybe he was listening in, go for that 2.5 hatch. But I think the Marine might actually commit here. I just got a feeling.
Well, if it's 24 low and he didn't get any damage with his mutas, he might be a little bit rattled by that and might be thinking to himself, okay, I have to approach this a little bit differently. I can't go super low eco every single game. I'm just going to get outclassed by someone of Mihu's caliber.
Yeah, and that Marine actually went all the way. But in the end, backs off. I'm curious if XiaoShuai actually built links, because there are some people that they don't even care. Like, that's cute, man. What's one Marine going to do? And they just build drones anyway. Now, that's, again, another fast gas, but it's not an eBay timing gas. This looks like, again, what I call the Ample Academy timing, which is like a stim rush. So we could actually have him try and punish this 2-hatch, kind of 2.5 hatch, really, really quick.
Yeah, I mean, if there's just 4 lings and only a maximum of 2 sunkens, there's still a timing here to punish. So if he makes a little bit of a slip up here, doesn't make additional lings, or just assumes that he's going to be safe with 1 or 2 sunkens, then yeah, he might just be caught off guard here in the early game.
Lings come in here and see there's no real opportunity to get any damage done. There's the Academy. What was that? Maybe like 335 Academy. Yeah. So somewhat quick. Doesn't necessarily have to commit to an attack. He can just rely on getting the fast upgrades. But I really do think he's going to make a move pretty soon. Despite it being a 2.5 hatch opener, I don't know the exact time the 3rd hatch comes down, but I was expecting to see a drone on the map, and I don't see one. Oh, that's because it's in the main. The hatch, I mean.
Yeah. He's usually with 2.5 hatch, unless you're doing like some kind of super greedy, like straight into Hydro Defiler, you're probably not going to make that on location. And you are worried about the 2 racks timing because your mutas won't be out in time to stop that. If you do the normal 2 hatch timing into on location, then your mutas are just barely in time to either punish the Bible after they kill the 3rd or to stop that from happening altogether. But yeah, with the 2.5 hatch, a little bit riskier going for that on location, so it makes sense to make it in base.
Well, XiaoShuai needs it sunken, and he needs it like now because the medics are out, and this is the timing. This is the 8 Marine, 2 medic move out. Don't tell me the Overlord misses it. Do not say that.
It might. Hang on. Wait. He moved it down a little bit. He moved the Overlord down just a tiny touch, just as he was starting to shuffle the Marines out. So I think he caught wind of it. I think he saw it.
Okay, he did, and he immediately builds 2 Sunkens. This is exactly what you need to hold this off. You don't need 3. You definitely need more than 1. And Mihu behind this, he doesn't know that there's no third hatch out on the map. So for now, he's just going to get the double sunken, which is still a good win for him. And behind this, I don't see additional Raxes so far. Okay, as I say that, there they go. 4 Rax as a follow-up.
He's feeling it right now. He wants to put the pressure on, and can't say I'll blame him. I mean, we'll see. But yeah, but you've got the 6 speedlings and 2 sunkens here from the main base, and these like 4 lings out on the map to pincer as well. So like, there's no way that Mihu could do anything to him. But he has forced a lot of lings. So as long as he gets back home with these marines safely, then he's gonna be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, that was definitely a win for Mihu. Now he just backs off with his full army. Getting the additional lings is massive. Kids don't ever want to let Zerg get free drones. He's got the bunker coming down to defend those depots. I think that's smart. Turrets coming down in his main. Everything looks very solid. He's already got his eBay with +1 coming. So Mihu once again look very solid, and it's going to be on XiaoShuai to get some damage done.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how he's gonna figure that out though, Nyoken, because he's already 2 drones down, and he's doing a build that's supposed to be optimizing for his economy, and he's not optimized so well for his economy. So what he really needs to make happen now is a nice little mutaling step, either with Mihu trying to push out, or he tries to distract him into the main base while the lings come into the natural expansion and disrupt that. So he's gonna have to make something happen here for sure.
Yeah, but Mihu doesn't move. He doesn't move out, so that's like a hard thing to rely on. Like, he's content with just sitting here. One subtle thing that I'm noticing with Mihu, now I'm not sure if this is just coincidence that it happened in this game and last game, but in his main, for whatever reason, he spaces his turrets out not exactly next to each other. So you can't, get like, you can't stack like 3 right next to each other, get maximum damage, but I guess they don't splash each other either. I don't know, it's just a curious thing I noticed as a Terran player.
I'm not too sure of the exact reason. I guess it gives you a little bit better unit flow when you're navigating around inside your main base, but it might be something to do about the bounces of the glaives as possible to mitigate a little bit of that incoming DPS when they're trying to volley them down. But yeah, getting behind the lines and snatching a few of these Marines, but taking a lot of damage on that one muta, so not super worth. And these Marines finally making a move onto the middle of the map now.
Well, this is the moment that, if you're XiaoShuai, this is what you're waiting for. The Marines are out on the map. It's only 1 group. I mean, This is the dream scenario. You've got 12 lings to help buffer for the mutas, but he misses them. And now there's 2 groups, and now you can't win this battle. So a missed opportunity there from XiaoShuai.
He needed to be waiting in the wings a little bit more closely there to ready and just to pounce on that first bio ball as soon as he had the opportunity to, because now it's just much more difficult to get any kind of tangible damage with these mutalisks. With 2 control groups of Marines like this, it's just so difficult to get the value out of these mutas now.
Yeah, and despite it being a 4 Rax follow-up, factory's already done. Starports are coming in. He's nailing his build. The Mutalisks, I don't really think can kill much. Those are the first 2 Marines, I think, that have been killed from this army. He trades a Mutalisk for it. There's a lot of medics here also. There's 5, so the healing power is immense.
Yeah, so you won't be punished so much for stimming like you sometimes can do as Zerg. It's just keep the Terran stimming every 10 seconds, but with a few extra medics in the arsenal, you're not really worried about that overstimming issue quite as much.
Ooh. Mass Ling. Okay, so this is one thing you can do is if Terran's overstepped, you can go for Mass Ling, Mass Muta, but this is going to be 2.5 groups. And by the way, it's an armory at the natural, so it's literally the same style. Now, if these 3 groups get together, I don't think there's any chance Zerg wins, but actually the 8 Marines have wandered off into no man's land. Maybe XiaoShuai can win this battle.
Yeah, this is very Sulky-esque right now, just sweeping in with the Mutalisks and Lings. There's too much HP on these mutas to focus both, so if you focus the mutas, the Lings clear you up, and if you focus the Lings, the mutas stay alive and are getting much more value, and you're trading minerals for minerals, so the Zerg's happy either way. Now though, this little force of 8 Marines circumnavigating that fight is going to get some damage done at this 3rd base location, killing all the drones here and trying to target down this hatchery, and they are going to get this hatchery just before the units come in to defend this.
Yeah, if XiaoShuai didn't, act like he was going to counterattack the natural, the Lings and Mutalisks may have actually been in time, but he loses the hatchery and all the drones got killed off. But luckily, one of the larvae survived, so he'll be able to rebuild it quickly. But look, there was no damage done to Mihu's econ at any point. Like, now he's going to have another massive army. He's already got 5 racks. He's about to have his Valkyries coming out. He's got a 6 racks coming down. And what does XiaoShuai have? I mean, he has Lings and Mutas. I haven't seen a single lurker.
Yeah, I mean, the value of those Muta, we see some lurkers morphing in now, but yeah, the value of this Muta Ling goes down exponentially now that we've got these Valkyries out. And he doesn't want to keep flooding Lings. That's a lot of precious lava that you're wasting. It's a nice little power spike in that first mid-game push, but as the mid-game progresses, that Soul Key style starts to dwindle in its potential power. So now going to be relying on these lurkers to come out onto the map. He's going to try and shuffle out these lurkers maybe to the center to try and get a little pincer here on this army. If he does manage to get the lurkers on top of these forces with the Lings wrapping around and preventing the retreat, then he can really start to clean up this Terran force and come out in a... Look at these Lings! He's really going to go for it here, Nyoken.
Yeah, he's all in here. Like, I don't even know if he has a hive. There's a lot of Marines. He's trying to... Yeah, he's trying to bait him out of position. That was a mistake, Mihu. This could be the moment that XiaoShuai was waiting for.
Okay, he doesn't get the wraparound with the Lings that he was hoping for, but he shuffles forward with the lurkers, but only losing a few of those Marines, though, while cleaning up all those Lings. So this is really going Mihu's way. And we have 4 Valkyries now out on the field, so he can really start to put on a little bit of pressure here. And he has total control as long as these lurkers, like, do not, like, say, for example, contain his army and let a Defiler come across the map. And I don't think he's rushed into Hive, so there's no Defiler panic timing here that we would usually see about 11 minutes 30. So Mihu's probably sitting pretty right now.
Yeah, there's the Defiler mound, but like you said, I don't think Defilers are out, and now Mihu's doing exactly what you should do, is you can't engage onto 6 lurkers. It's just too hard to kill them. But what you can do is you can cut off reinforcements, and now, I mean, the Marine count is not that big, but if he can catch these Lings and then sandwich the lurkers, he'll be in a fine position.
Yeah, I mean, all he's got to do right now is just have this tiny force of bio units stay alive out on the map and prevent anything from reinforcing this position and containing him and letting a Defiler walk across the map for free. As long as he prevents that, he's probably pretty comfortable with this game state. I mean, we're only just now mining from this third gas as XiaoShuai. Here comes Mihu again with a nice little skirmish force, trying to shave off some of those lurkers, losing quite a few units, but also has these Wraiths pew-pewing away at them with their burst lasers, slowly whittling down this town here. But this bio was getting sandwiched on that ridge line, going to be cleaning up that quite cost efficiently with those 0-0 Lings. Usually you don't see 0-0 Lings do so well against bio units. When they're in that small number, they don't really fare so well.
Yeah, I would say that Mihu's in trouble, but I actually think he'll be able to get through these lurkers in just a second. He's got 4 Wraiths. Now, the Wraiths, you know, they're okay, but something to keep in mind is if he doesn't deal with the lurkers, like he might not, is he has no vessels to deal with the Defiler. He's got to get rid of these. There's no consuming. He needs 25 more energy. It all comes out of this. Can he break out? And the answer is yes.
Just barely the nick of time. The Dark Swarm went down right as the Firebat was finishing off the Lurker. So without that Firebat, the Lurker would have lived. So thank the heavens we had that one Firebat there, guys. Like the human race can persist on just a little bit longer. Going to be also chasing down these Defilers. Race are great pursuing units to finish those off with, allowing the Marines to also come across the map. Maybe had to put some pressure onto this little expansion up here in the northwest, or just go straight to the natural. We have the Valkyries with total dominance there in the air right now, wreaking havoc on any kind of overlords and doing beautiful patrol micro like we just saw there, even killing the Scourge. So really getting super value out of those Valkyries too.
Yeah, I thought at some point that the Scourge would eventually win the battle with the Valkyries, but they just haven't. Now XiaoShuai's been like supply blocked for about 30 seconds. There's freaking 4 Wraiths killing the drone. It's just crazy. Those Valkyries are on patrol, so any Scourge that come by, it's going to be automatically some patrol micro to deal with. They don't connect either.
This is insane. He got 1 connection with those 2 Scourge, and he shut down all of the mining here in the main base. And now we're going under the sunken break. There's no lurker here. There is some Dark Swarm and Lings coming out here, but with this amount of Firebats, they're not really going to do much. And you know, Dark Swarm doesn't protect Sunken's Nyoken, so that's going to die as well. And now we got the Wraiths and Valkyries wreaking havoc, and just going to be tapping out. GG, quick 2-0 lead here for Mihu. This is insane. He's really showing his caliber.
He's just so crazy. He's so good. It's just nuts. Like, he's just out on the map. He didn't even actually have great trades either. Like, he lost his army, and it still doesn't matter. His econ is just always incredible. I was actually worried about the race, but you saw he hit it right at the last moment. If the Dark Swarm gets down, I think the game is not necessarily over, but Mihu's in big time trouble. But XiaoShuai, now he's on the ropes. He's down 2-0. He tried 2 different strategies. He did the 2 hatch, he did the 2.5 hatch. Nothing has worked. At least, I was going to say at least it's his map pick, but it's not even his map pick. Next up is Ramir.
I think he has to go super crazy and do like 1 base lurker or something. I don't know. We've got to do something super crazy right now.
Yeah, I don't know what you do versus Mihu because I feel like you can't do anything to him in the beginning. He's just so good. His micro's great. But if you don't do anything to him, well, you can see what happens. His macro's ridiculous. I'm watching 4 Valkyries in the game by themselves. I don't get it. How do they not die? And Valkyries are expensive. They're 250 minerals. So how does he afford all these Marines while also going the most expensive air unit?
Because he doesn't really get any SCVs, Nyoken. He's just sewn up like a duck's butt, and you just don't get in there and do any damage to him. So he's just got all this extra minerals. It's like playing against Flash or something. He just seems to have more than he should.
Yeah, I don't get it. Why can't I do that? I can sit in my base.
Why can't you be Flash?
Can't I have... Yeah, I can't be Flash though.
Yeah.
Well, XiaoShuai, he needs to come up with something special here. He's a really good player, but so far Mihu has just got his number, and that 82% win rate versus Zerg is going up even higher after today, unless XiaoShuai can turn it around.
I mean, he is literally like the Flash Chinese player right now. He's absolutely insane across the board. Such perfect stats, like champion after champion after champion under his belt. I mean, what more can you say about this guy? He's just so consistently stellar.
Yeah, he's just incredible. Anybody that faces off versus him, either in the loser's bracket or future rounds in the winner bracket, are going to have to come mega prepared, because I don't even think Terran versus Zerg is his best matchup. I actually think Terran versus Protoss is his best matchup. Like, he just doesn't lose in that matchup, and you can see it's reflected in the rates. 88% win rate, and
nuts.
Since this is BSL, you know, the majority of the games have come versus Boneth, DeWalt, Oyachi, and players like that. That is an absurd win rate. Looks like there's a bit of a delay before getting into the third game, but I'm sure we'll be getting in there momentarily.
Yeah, I would say like 70s like Mastery and 80s like Bombastic level. Like, we're getting into crazy territory here.
Yeah, this is unreal numbers. To give you perspective, everybody thinks, you know, everybody knows Snow is a god PvT, right? Like, he doesn't lose.
Mm-hmm.
He went, I think in his last 45 PvTs, he went like 40-5. Now that's a 90% win rate. And that's exactly what we have here with Mihu. So Mihu is legitimately playing at that type of caliber of play versus Protoss.
Yeah, and like with the likes of Snow, if he could just figure out his PvZ, he would essentially be the Protoss Flash. And if he gets his consistency down and not suffer any mental issues deep into tournaments at live events and what have you, then we got a new scary guy on our hands. And Mihu is the same. Like, he's across the board. If anything, he's got higher hopes than Snow in the regards that he's already so well rounded and he's only just getting started.
Well, with all that said, we are ready for Game 3. Let's see if Mihu can close it out, or XiaoShuai starts staging his comeback. Okay, in the bottom left, we do have our Zerg. It is XiaoShuai. And then in the bottom right, up 2-0, we do have Mr. Mihu.
Yeah. Seeing if he can increase the smoke levels into his room to levels which will obscure the vision of his opponent. Nice little trick.
Well, XiaoShuai must have been smoking a lot, because that day that I played him, I mean, he was hazy out of his mind.
He was hotboxing, man. He was hotboxing like crazy.
Oh my gosh. Well, this is another map where good for walling, so I'm expecting to see the same thing from Mihu, same exact depot racks, depot opener from him, and then I guess behind it, I guess we're going to wait and see what the follow-up is, because even though we've seen Bio play so far, you know, he pulled out that 1-1-1, was it, versus Crossy on Dark Origin, so we could definitely see some tech as a follow-up, but actually there's a depot in the main. I'm a little bit surprised about that.
Well, I wonder if Mihu's got the sort of Flash mindset of like 1-1-1's really good, but it doesn't quite hit that like 80+% win rate that you really want if you want to be a perfect player. You know, we saw Flash utilize that build for so long, and then the likes of Effort coming in and showing how you can dismantle it with some like 2-hatch all-in ling with Burrow upgrade and whatnot. So it's a little bit of a flimsy build in regards to how many few units you've got in the early game, and unless you execute absolutely flawlessly, there's a few holes of weakness that the Zerg can exploit. So not the perfect build order, but a really useful tool to have in your arsenal.
By the way, this was an additional drone being built after a 12-hatch, and there's a drone going out. Give it to me, XiaoShuai. Show me the 3-hatch on location before pool. Do it.
Yeah, if he does do that, it'd be kind of crazy. I think he did just make a pull though, so it's going to be a 2.5 hatch, but it could still be a 2.5 on location.
Yeah, this does look like it's going to be 2.5. There goes the gas, so it is going to be the 2.5 hatch. And Mihu, even though there's no wall, it's going to be the same thing. Command center coming down in just a second. This time he actually does build in a marine in the beginning, so I guess it's a little bit safer this time. But you're not allowed in, drone. You're not allowed.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of interesting that SCV playing the role of bouncer there. Not going to be letting that drone into the club. He's wearing sneakers, okay? He's not wearing like proper shoes. We can't let him in.
Yeah, and because Mihu has the capability to play 1-1-1, you know, this scout really didn't get XiaoShuai anything. I mean, I guess he saw the SCV on the ramp, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's expanding, so he's going to have to kind of guess at this point. I wonder if he'll actually put down a sunken. That would be crazy.
Yeah, it would be. This is the problem with Zerg, I think, in general, is that there's some points at the early game where you just don't know what the Terran is doing, and you could just be caught off guard. Like, it could be like a vulture run by that you just didn't like figure out because you couldn't confirm the CC timing for some crazy reason. Like, there's all kinds of shenanigans that could potentially happen. So usually Zergs will go for this like very middle ground way of playing. Well, they'll make 4 lings and eventually make. Well, he was considering it there. He had the drone there ready to make a creep colony at the 330 mark, which is what you would do if it was a factory timing. He was considering that for a second.
Yeah, so he's kind of up in the air as to what this follow-up is. I actually thought that those Marines were going to commit farther north and intercept that Overlord, but I think he would have risked losing all of his Marines for that, so smartly turns around. Also saw that there was enough lings to deal with him, so that was also consideration. It's no eBay this time. It was 2 racks. Kind of a normal-ish Academy timing. I don't think this was exceptionally fast or exceptionally slow. Did we lag out?
Yeah, currently got a lot of technical difficulties here. Not currently getting a live feed from the game. A little bit of a glitch in the matrix, guys. Please bear with us. That usually means they've changed something. So it could be if you bricked up Windows or what have you, or units might look a little bit different when you get back, but bear with us.
All right, we're going to try and refresh the stream right now. Right now, it's not necessarily a critical moment because Academy's not done. There's no move out, but it's going to be happening in the next minute or so. So hopefully we can get that resolved. I think Mihu's just doing Mihu things right now, just playing safe, backed off, forced out additional lings that Zerg doesn't want. Everything looks pretty normal to me.
He's probably not cutting his SCV production because you usually don't cut your SCV production until about 40, 45 at the earliest. And you'll see Light do that sometimes. He'll kind of cut around 44, 45. But usually you don't see Terran cutting SCVs for quite some time.
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because actually I went and downloaded a bunch of high-level Terran replays, and they all cut around like 6 minutes.
Yeah.
To about 7:30. But
how many SCVs is
that? You're generally around like 36. Like that's where you're at. But what's funny is I went and downloaded some Zealot and Tengu games, and I specifically went and looked for Zealot because I was like, I know this guy all in. I'm curious how they cut versus
my man Zealot.
And this guy Tengu, I mean, he literally cut for 5 minutes straight. He didn't build a single SCV, but at the same time, Zealot didn't build a single drone. It was freaking hilarious.
Yeah, well, they've got each other's numbers as well. Like, he knows Zealot. Like, Zealot's like the kind of guy that has 50 different ways of killing you. You just don't know which one it's going to be, right? Like, he's just got the bag of builds. He was the guy back in the day that was like had a higher wage than anyone else. Like, everyone else was on contracts that were like at least 3 times, maybe 2 times lower than his, purely because he was good at negotiating his contract, but also he's just so good at killing Terrans.
Well, we are back into the game now. There was a move out from Mihu, but he backed off. I guess, again, just wanted to force out some Sunkens. I can see he did that at the natural. We've got the Mutalisk out, and Firebat, I guess, was looking for a third base. In fact, there is another Firebat at top left, so he didn't take care of all of them, but he got rid of one of the Firebats.
I mean, so far the supplies are looking okay for XiaoShuai. I guess he's optimizing his economy a little bit more this game. Not quite making as many lings as he did when he went for that 2.5 hatch the last time, so hopefully he can have a stronger economy to boot. And now finally we see some SCVs dying. Nyoken 2 so far, there's a third, so here we go, 4 as well. Need about 5 or 6 to really start to be even with the Terran. You can be kind of comfortable. Once you got that 5 or 6 SCV kills, you can start to relax a little bit as a...
Yeah, this is really good damage. This is the type of damage that you need to get done versus Mihu, because like I said, Terrans, they cut at like 6 minutes, and they cut for a long time. So now that you've gotten rid of a lot of SCVs, they can't cut anymore, which means their factory, starport, you know, etc., they're all late, or they've got to give up building Marines, right? Something's got to give here. So this was a really good... Yeah, this was really good. And now we still got a massive move out, by the way, and it's gone undetected until just now.
Yeah, I mean, we've got this one Overlord in this nice little spot in the center seeing it, but only 2 Sunkens. Mutalisk's just now hatching, but if he doesn't have a critical timing of Mutas, he won't have enough to defend against his Sunken bust potentially, so we could see a potential timing where he just wipes him out. We do see about 6 or 7 Mutalisks are finished up, so he can start to shave off a few of these Marines, trying desperately not to get supply box by losing this Overlord. It does manage to save that, but trading a few Mutalisks. Look how bruised these Mutas are already. I think he has a timing to bust here.
He may actually have a timing, but it's hard to know how bruised all of them are, and there's double sunken, so I don't think he's going to go for it.
Yeah,
but he's going to branch. Yeah,
well, he doesn't know that he can bust, but he can. You know what I mean? Like if he saw how bruised all those mutas were, he might be like pulling the trigger right now. It's just that he doesn't know for sure, so he probably will be a little bit more like a pro gamer would, and you know, not take that gamble when he doesn't need to.
Yeah, and you can see the damage that those SCVs did. The factory just finishes at 8 minutes, so that's a really late factory compared to his previous games. He did find top left, so he knows it's up there. He has branched off 2 Marines, but he doesn't commit with them yet because he knows the mutas are going to go up there and kill that firebat off. So he's waiting, you know, probably like a minute or so, and then he'll strike with 2 Marines and probably catch a bunch of drones.
Yeah, this is great forward planning from Mihu, and it's going to lull the Zerg into a false sense of security once he does clean up that firebat as well. So yeah, this is stellar stuff here from Mihu. Yeah, potentially would punish XiaoShuai quite heavily here, and killing just like 3 or 5 drones, it doesn't matter. Any drone kills are just so critical, and he's only going to be making drones up there from that hatchery. He doesn't really want to have to transfer drones, so if you do kill a few drones up there, it's such a crippling blow to the Zerg.
Well, unlike the previous games, you know, supplies are really, really close right now, which generally you think Zerg must be winning, but I think... Oh, looks like we lagged out again, but I was going to say, I still think Mihu's in a fine position. We have double starport coming in. No. I didn't see the... Oh, I'm lagged out also.
No, all lagging.
Yeah.
Maybe World War III started and, you know, the internet's the first to go. So if that is the case, guys, I'll see you on the other side and stay safe.
Yeah, the first target is to get rid of that BSL
get rid of the StarCraft, guys. That's where all the theories and like figuring out how to solve that's where all the tactical decisions will be made for World War III. So I need to get rid of that first.
Exactly. So hopefully that gets resolved in just a moment, because unlike the first delay, this is actually a critical moment in the game. We're about to be reaching the point where Zerg's going to be getting mass lurkers, going to start going into hive, but at the same time, Terran's about to hit 3 groups of Marine Medic, which you're not killing that. It doesn't matter how many mutas you have, how many lings you have. That ain't dying. So it looks like we are back into the game. It's close to 3 groups. That's a lot of medics. There's lurk, hold position, please, please.
Oh my days! Can you imagine? Can you imagine? We've currently lagging out, so we don't even know. Okay, he's on top of the lurkers. He's on top of the lurkers. He's losing the Marines to the lurkers. So many Marines have gone down now. He can currently even on supplies as well. This is looking great for XiaoShuai. Maybe flipping this series up on its head, finally getting a little bit of momentum back so far in this game.
Yeah, and by the way, well, first off, we're lagging again, but by the way, those 2 Marines at top left, I don't see them anymore. So they've already been used. So there's no threat of losing those drones anymore. There's not that many lurkers. Yeah, it's just 1. So it's not like he critically had to get rid of it to make sure he doesn't get contained. But that was a lot of damage from XiaoShuai right there.
I mean, it does give so much breathing room to the Zerg right now, and yeah, Mihu's a little bit strapped for cash as well. Like those eBays were not spinning. The science facility was finished, and he did not have the money to start his upgrade. So he's already kind of making cuts. You know, he can't keep all the plates spinning. He's got to let some things drop.
Zerg, I think that building was a defiler mount, so it's not done just yet, which means there is threat of vessel busting because XiaoShuai took the low ground base. There's really no threat of getting killed by a dropship play up there, and I see in his main he's got a lot of lings and defense in his main, so I don't think dropships will really do much, but
no.
Mihu on the move right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's the timing here where he's got radiates to really start to like weaken up these moves. A pretty good split. It didn't take too much damage, but any damage is pretty significant right now because those mutas do not fare well. It's only 2 medics with this huge contingency of Marines, though, so don't have the kind of busting potential as they might like, but still a high DPS output for XiaoShuai to worry about. Oh, he's catching these mutas as they're in retreat, though. A lot of damage done to those as well. He has got these lurkers to bunker down, and we'll soon have Nidus Canal and what have you to set up and, you know, start to like tighten up and taking that 4th gas critically. So we might see a dropship play come into the northwest quadrant eventually into that main base location. Might be a play to follow this up here. At the very least, he will start laying siege to both locations eventually.
And Mihu did make a move to try and bust the natural, but there was way too many lurkers. You know, he may be getting a little anxious here to end this game because now he's actually not in a great position. XiaoShuai is starting to take a 4th base. He's got macro hatches in his main. I think Mihu's setting up to take mid-right in just a moment.
Presumably. Yeah, we had this tiny little force of 5 Marines and a medic chilling out outside the natural, containing the virus. So we've got a little bit of a quarantine going on in the northwest quadrant here. Most of the forces of Zerg are in the southwest quadrant, but we do have this Nidus Canal to channel units up there in defense if so needed, but only just now starting. Like, here's those 2 dropships. Yeah, I think we're going to see a little dropship play into the main of the top left, and he has an option to either elevate her into there as a follow-up to maybe attack the natural as well from both the high ground and the east. But yeah, at the very least, he could do a lot of damage to his 4th base location, which is going to be critical because allowing the Zerg to get 4 gases up with like 1,200 gas a minute is just crazy to allow the Zerg to get away with that kind of production without punishing them.
Yeah, top left is exactly where he needs to go. He can't do any damage in the natural or the main unless he has some type of move that draws the units out of position, which I can't imagine happening. It looks like we're finally coming out of some weird lag spike right there. Yep. You can see that mid-right was taken from Mihu. XiaoShuai is really powering up really hard. In fact, he's got a macro hatch going up at top left, but look, he's already set up for the drop.
Look at
so
this.
I mean, this is the dream scenario for XiaoShuai. 4 bases, taking no damage. You've got this guy going dropships, which should do no damage. He's feeling so confident. He's got his Ultraless Cavern coming up now.
Yeah, this is kind of like how you want to play a Zerg on the ladder if you want to be a serious player. Like, this kind of setup as Zerg is like the dream scenario. Like, you're kind of like not really weak anywhere. You know, you've dotted your I's, crossed your T's. You've got Scourge in like anti-dropship, like vectors. You've got Lurkers with Defilers waiting to support anything that comes in. Pretty much everywhere's sewn up so tightly. The only thing that would really do anything to this is maybe like a really heavy commitment to dropships, like 4. Oh, we see 4 dropships. That's exactly what we're going to see, Nyoken. A really heavy dropship play is exactly what he needs. 2's not going to be enough, but 4 might be.
Yeah, exactly. Now, I guess the question to me is, I often see players drop, obviously, a lot of Marines, but he needs some fire bats mixed in here. You don't need that many lurkers, but if they can't be hit, then it doesn't matter. So, okay, there we go. 3.
There we go.
He's got some fire bats, and we get unloaded.
Look at the power troopers. This is like a Commander and Conquer, like movie sequence or something. The way they unload like that, and just going to be dropping out of the sky. And we don't even know exactly what's happening right now, but I can imagine that eventually he's going to be skirmishing around to the back of the minerals. Yeah, we see him skirmishing around to the back of the minerals, forcing a kill on this hatchery because these lurkers can't reposition in time to save that, and he's trying to like keep being annoying as possible. Like, just can't like what we see Boxer do back in the day. You know, just trying to get as much value out of these Marines as possibly can. It's really frustrating for Zerg to have to navigate this. He's doing so much damage to the Zerg.
Yeah, by the way, the Nidus is right there. He can hit that from the high ground. If he kills the Nidus and then just goes for the killing move at that 3rd base, this game will be completely flipped on its head. And we've got a double expand for Mihu, who's now taking his 4th base, so he's brought it back.
Yeah, I mean, this is gnarly. Like, if you get into 4 gases as Terran, like, you can just do what you want. You can have, like, 3-4 starports churning out vessels and battle cruisers, 10 barracks worth of production. It just gets insane. And look at this, even, like, preventing him from even setting up this 4 base again. Now he won't have the kind of gas that he needs to get that critical mass of Ultraless. He has, like, 4,000 minerals, over 1,000 gas, but he wants to make, like, 20 Ultras. He doesn't want to make only, like, 5 or 10. He wants to make a crazy amount.
Well, there's another quad drop coming to the main this time, but there's still a lot of stuff. Okay, actually, there's not that much stuff in the main. It's just Lings. Yeah. If this gets in, this could be the game-ending move because Zerg is still focused on top left.
Well, he was supply blocked for the longest time. He has not even been able to spend this money, Nyoken. Only macro hatcheries could have been thrown down, and he didn't want to have to throw down hatcheries when he could just use all the lava he's got available to him. And Yeah, like he's losing this hatchery again on top of it, and also a dropship coming into the main base to put some pressure on there. With only Ling support, going to be doing a good time of it as well. And he's got these overlords that he can kill. He got the Ultra Cavern he can target down. Now he could also pressure a lot of these overlords out to supply lock him, but I don't think he would go for that. He would instead just shuffle around, see if he can get a few more of these Ling trades, maybe a drone or two if he could get back there. But it doesn't really matter. Any damage he does to XiaoShuai right now is like critical damage. He's only just now starting to stabilize and get some kind of control back over this game. He was in such a phenomenal position momentarily, but these 4 dropships proved crucial in this game.
Yeah, XiaoShuai has such a massive bank. I wonder what he's waiting for just build Ultralist or something. We see in the main of Mihu's actually building battle cruisers. He's going into a 7th Rax. He's got his 4th base up and running now. There's a, oh my gosh, a mass demake. Wow. No way, is he really gonna go for it? Or there's no lurkers here. None, 0.
Man. Yeah, this is crazy. Even there was a few lurkers, I don't think it'd matter with 4D Matrix. It's definitely insane. Finally, some Ultralists making their way out onto the field, but the damage has already been done. We've broken through the Sunkens. Now we're killing some drones. Darkstorm was finally going down, but we already done enough damage to the Zerg that I think that Mihu's going to be in a pretty convincing position going forward. Any damage we do is just adding insult to injury currently.
Yeah, this was a big move. It doesn't end up killing a lot of stuff. It kills a lot of drones, but doesn't kill like key units like Ultralists or Lurkers. He got into a there's no way the game's over. Well, here comes round 2. Now this time around I think this may actually end the game because a lot of the Ultras were hurt. There weren't that many defilers, there weren't that many Lurkers, and now Terran actually has a massive supply lead, like up 50 supplies. Zerg is still struggling to get top left up and running. Double or triple irradiate coming in.
But he can't do everything. Like he needs to either he makes Scourge to try and clear out some of these vessels, but then he's not got enough lava to produce units. So he probably wants to rely on Plague, but he's not got a Mutalist to finish off the plagued vessels. Like, everything is kind of not quite going XiaoShuai's way, and that's frustrating for a Zerg player because, like the Terran earlier, the Terran was like trying to decide what plates that he could keep spinning and which ones he had to let fall, and now XiaoShuai is in the exact same position.
Those are BCs, by the way, going to the map.
Oh, wow.
You can tell because of how slow they are. And these Ultras, you remember he lost his Ultras Caverns? I don't even know if they have +5. I'm going to guess that they probably don't. He's already preemptively built +1 weapon on his air for the BCs. So the Scourge are going to be absolutely useless. I think the Defiler is missing, so this could be it.
Yeah, this could be it. The BCs are +1 will one-shot the Scourge no matter what, no matter how much Carapace they have upgraded. So, yeah, these BCs are going to be a nightmare for him to deal with, because even if he makes Scourge to deal with those BCs, then he's not got enough Lings and Ultralists to prevent these bio units just having a field day in this natural expansion. Going to be shuffling those units down. Does eat a lot of the chili sauce on those bio units to soften them up for these Lings, but it's just too much red coming across the map right now. With 4 gases churning away, he's going to have so much production behind this sniper.
Remember it was like even supply? Now it's 180 to 80. So this game is completely over at this point. The natural's been breached. It's just non-stop red across the map. I thought for sure XiaoShuai, if there was any game to take, this was going to be it. But Mihu said, no, you can't keep up with my multitask. Wow. And he's just incredible.
Absolutely insane. It's a treat to watch this guy play, because it does feel like watching a Flash-esque play. Like even when he's in bad situations, he still somehow seems to keep his cool and navigate it like it's no big deal. It's kind of a privilege to watch this guy.
Yeah, this was absolutely sick. These Scourge, like I said, they're not going to do anything, and now it's just a matter of time. I actually think if he just builds like 2 rounds of Fire Bats and attacks, I don't think there's any counter.
Yeah, he finally clears up.
Outright ends.
Yeah, he finally clears up those 2 BCs, but like we were saying just a moment ago, like it's 80 supply to 180, 4 base gas Terran. You've got the 4 gases set up as Zerg, but because the units are coming out in a trickle, you're never going to have the kind of critical mass or army composition necessary to actually bully the Terran back. And the Terran just killed your natural expansions. Now you're reduced back to 3 gas, and even more so, the problems you just had a moment ago are now twofold.
Yeah, and I want to see what this incoming army is. Show me Fire Bats.
Yeah, there's a few there.
Couple.
Yeah,
not
too
that
many. You're right though. Usually you'd want to see like a big train of like just like a 1 round of like 8 or 10 Fire Bats just come out all at once, and then like really start to put the hurdle.
Well, that was a good trade there. That single Hydra got 2 vessels, but it's just too much. I mean, Terran's max, right? And I'm looking at the army. I'm like, well, where's the army, right? Like, how do we have 170 supply and this is it?
It's 5-2 on these ultras now, only to 2-1 of Mihu. So if Mihu wasn't in this much of a dominant economic position, he actually would be in a little bit of trouble. If he didn't shut down the gas of XiaoShuai and these ultras came out in big force, eventually he would get overrun by how upgraded these ultras are. But he's done such a good job of preventing the gas timings, and he's utilized these critical like points of weakness in the Zerg's infrastructure that he's disrupted XiaoShuai from ever getting a strong foothold. He's trying to do this little counter-attack here in the natural expansion with a bit of Ultra Ling. He is able to trade well because of how well upgraded his units are, but it doesn't really matter. He's never going to get a critical mass to actually deal with the composition that Mihu's fielding right now.
Well, this XiaoShuai counterattack was really good. He kept the units back. He shut down the 4th base, but like you said, there's just not enough here. He's used the majority of that, you know, almost 2k gas bank that he had, but he's still got a lot of minerals. And every time I look in the attack that he's making, it's just like 12 lings or something. There's still a ton of stuff in his main doing damage. Those BCs are still alive, I think.
Yeah, the BCs are still alive. You need 6 Scourge to kill a BC, so that's 3 lava and like 225 gas. I mean, even though that's a lot less than how much these BCs cost, the fact that you have to use 3 lava alone to deal with that is a big tempo swing for the Terran. That's three sets of lings that didn't get make, or 3 hydras that could have been lurkers, or potential defiler and what have you. So wasting production on Scourge is not where you want to be.
I think we're just waiting for the GG from XiaoShuai. I mean, he technically still has top left. He forced a lift off at bottom right, so he may be thinking like, well, maybe I can recover, but I don't think he realizes he's down 100 supply. He also, I don't think he's going to be able to deal with top right either. Yeah, like it's just a ling and a lurker, and it's a teenager.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of unfortunate to watch it, but Mihu's just completely outclassing XiaoShuai in every way, and that's kind of how some of their sets have gone in recent times. Like all the sets that Mihu won, he won every single game in the set.
Sometimes the opponent just has your number that day, and it looks like that's going to be the case today, as Mihu is going to win 3-0, played out of his mind in the first 2 games. XiaoShuai, I thought this was his game in game 3, but the drops, man, we lagged out, so we didn't get to see exactly how they happened, but he not only killed top left, but killed key buildings in the main also with the Ultralisk Cavern Snipe.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like if Mihu wasn't playing that active with how he did that dropship play and like minimized the amount of gas that the Zerg had available to him, he actually would have gotten overrun there. It was 5-2 Ultras against 2-1 Marines, and if you've got that kind